It is my pleasure to get the inaugural ceremony of Robert S. Uhas D.O. underway. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Master of Ceremonies, William Burke, D.O. Many of you know Dr. Burke serves on the AOA Board of Trustees, a position he has held since 2010. In July 2013, Dr. Burke became Dean of the Ohio University Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine's Central Ohio campus in Dublin. He is an OU HCOM graduate, a fellow of the ACOFP, and the recipient of several awards from the osteopathic family, including the Distinguished Service Award from the American Osteopathic Foundation, which he received in 2008. Please welcome Dr. Bill Burke.
What a day. Oh my goodness. This is great. Thank you very much, Speaker Morrison. It's truly an honor to be the Master of Ceremonies for Dr. Uhas today. But before we continue, I'd like to invite Father Fred Pauschy to the stage for the invocation. Father Pauschy is the pastor at Bob's Parish, St. Gabriel in Concord Township, where Dr. Uhas and his family have been members for 27 years. Father Pauschy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Good and loving God, we address you by different names and approach you through unique and special ways and visions. But we are united by your common and unconditional love for all of us. Be present with us in this prestigious assembly and help us to be present and open to you. We ask your blessing on all who are gathered here and all that is represented here. We offer you our sincere thanks for the gifts and talents of those here present and of all our colleagues, and for the generous and important ways they share their special gifts and talents. We pray that through us, each of us and all of us, your people may experience healing and wholeness, especially in their times of greatest need. We thank you for choosing us to embody your special gifts of healing and for giving us the opportunities and means to share our gifts. We ask your special blessing on your servant Robert, chosen to lead, represent, coordinate, and empower this association to grow, to serve, and to respond to the needs and challenges of your people. Give him wisdom, an understanding heart, patience, clarity of thought, and charity of action, so that he may faithfully fulfill the obligations and duties of this office, and thus enable all of us to continue to experience mutual support and a unity of purpose in the important work you have called us to do. We thank you for all who have planned, prepared, and provided for this great occasion that we are gathered for, and pray that we will always be worthy of your many blessings that fill our lives. We ask all of this in the name and in the unity of the one God in whose presence we gather. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father Pauschy, for your inspiring and thoughtful words. I know how much your presence here today means to Bob and Donna. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Uhas' family. First, his beautiful wife, Donna. Donna. Their daughter Amanda and her husband Brian. Their son Adam. Their son Stephen and his significant other Leanne. Their daughter Natalie and her husband Greg couldn't be here with us this weekend as they just welcomed a new baby girl. And speaking of grandchildren, I'd also like to introduce Bob's grandchildren, or Papa's crew, as he affectionately calls them, Eve, Grace, and Finnegan. Rounding out Dr. Yuha's family here with us today are his sister-in-law and her husband, Nancy and Mike Lambeau. In addition to Father Pauci, I'd like to ask some of Dr. Yuha's other close friends to stand and be recognized. Dr. John Lampe and his wife, Mrs. Pat Lampe. And Bob's good friend, Dr. Ron Lemo. Please join me again in giving them a rousing osteopathic welcome. We are so proud to see Dr. Yuhas ascend to the position of AOA president. He has received several congratulations from officials, including a proclamation from his member of Congress, Representative David Joyce, as well as a letter from Representative Joe Heck, the first DO to serve in Congress since the 1930s. I'd like to read an excerpt from Dr. Heck's letter, and I quote, "As a fellow osteopathic physician, I am confident that your exceptional combination of education and years of dedicated and diverse experience has prepared you well to meet and exceed the expectations of your new responsibility as AOA president and to lead the AOA through the ever-changing healthcare landscape. From your position as the AOA liaison to the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force at the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, to your prominent involvement in America's implementation of electronic medical records, to your tenure as president of Cleveland Clinic South Point Hospital, you are undoubtedly the best person to take the helm during these challenging times." End quote. Representative Heck's letter and others will be on display at the presidential reception this evening. At this time, it gives me pleasure to ask the president of the Ohio Osteopathic Association, Paul T. Shetzley, D.O., and Christopher J. Loike, D.O., of the Cleveland Academy of Osteopathic Medicine to the stage for a special presentation.
Hello, everyone. I have a congratulations from the General Assembly, State of Ohio, House of Representatives, from Representative Ron Young, Terry Johnson, DO, House District 90, and Speaker William Batchelder. It says, "With sincere pleasure, we congratulate you on your appointment and extend best wishes for the years to come." All right. Congratulations, Bob.
Dr. Yuhas, can you come up? I represent the Cleveland Academy of Osteopathic Medicine. This is Dr. Yuhas' home unit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Always knew you were going to do it. I have two letters here of congratulations. One is from Mayor Brad Sellers, and the other is from Mayor Frank Jackson. Couldn't be more proud of you, Bob.
Thank you.
Nice, nice.
Thank you, Dr. Shetzley and Dr. Loike. Now I invite the President and CEO of the Kansas City University of Medicine and Biosciences, Mark B. Hahn, DO, to the stage for another special presentation.
I've got a number of props here. One is a proclamation, the other is an award. And I also have, if I have a minute, I can share with you one of two things. Either the confidential academic record of Dr. Juhas, which I have here, or his yearbook picture. What would you like to see? All right, yearbook picture. And you know, Bob, you haven't changed much at all. This is the University of Health Sciences. Actually, you began school at the Kansas City College of Osteopathic Medicine, but you graduated from the University of Health Sciences. And I look at your picture, and you haven't changed much at all. Can you zoom in? You know, you look great. Actually, here's the picture. Actually, you do look the same. Here's a comparison. I don't know how you kept that hair. It looks great. All right. First, the proclamation. Whereas Robert S. Juhas, DO, is honored as the 2014 President of the American Osteopathic Association, and whereas Dr. Juhas is a 1981 graduate of KCUMB, or actually University of Health Sciences, whereas Dr. Juhas has distinguished himself as an exemplary model for students, interns, residents, and physicians in his role as a leader. Therefore, on the 19th day of July, 2014, the Kansas City University of Medicine and Biosciences extends its congratulations and best wishes. Bob, if you could come up, I also have an award.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hahn. I am both honored and humbled to have been asked by Bob to serve as his Master of Ceremonies today. Having had the privilege of knowing Dr. Juhas since my time as a medical student at Ohio University just a few years ago, my admiration for his servant leadership style, his creativity and vision, his active listening and negotiating skills, and his passion for and dedication to the osteopathic profession has only grown stronger. But you know, presidential transitions can sometimes be a bit awkward. No, it's true. It's true. And Bob's caring and compassion only goes so far, however. Some of you may have seen the moving van in front of the hotel as you came in this afternoon. As we speak, the moving crew is up on the 37th floor removing Norman Marcia Vinn's luggage from the presidential suite. Had to do that. While many people in this room may know Bob only through his dedicated service to the AOA from afar, some of us have had the unique pleasure of learning more about this man, learning about the love for his wife Donna and their entire family, learning about his faith journey and his deeply spiritual side, and learning how his life experiences have prepared him to be our leader at this seminal moment in our profession's history. Bob started his career in the osteopathic profession as a member of Brentwood Hospital's Food Services Department. No small point of pride for those who have enjoyed the delightful culinary experiences of Eastern Europe found in that hospital cafeteria. Today, Bob serves as president of that same hospital, now known as South Point Hospital, a member of the Cleveland Clinic family. From humble beginnings, this proud osteopathic physician is now the right person, the right leader, at the right time for our profession, a profession which is poised to become an even more dominant force in healthcare at a time when leadership is desperately needed. I am delighted to call Bob a friend, and I will be even more proud to call him Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. Now, however, we've come to the focal point of this afternoon's ceremony. Would President Vinn and President-elect Juhas please come to the podium for the oath of office?
First thing, we're going to take off this president-elect badge here. Set it aside, man. You notice I got mine ready for you.
Okay. Taking care of
You don't know how ready. You, Robert S. Juhas, D.O., have been elected by the members of our association to the high office of president. With this office goes the responsibility for the success and policies and objectives of the American Osteopathic Association during the coming year. You are charged with the task of providing leadership that will bring our association before organizations, elected officials, and the public. You are charged with the responsibility of naming able leadership who will diligently carry out the activities assigned to AOA committees. In addition, you are charged with successfully developing and promoting the programs that benefit the AOA family. I know that you will serve our association well and will accept these responsibilities to that end. I know you will also do the utmost to bring great credit to our profession during your year in office. Now, Bob, will you please raise your right hand and attest to the oath of office? Please repeat after me. I hereby swear or affirm that I, Robert S. Juhas, D.O.,
I hereby swear or affirm that I, Robert S. Juhas, D.O.,
will do all in my power
will do all in my power
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
of the American Osteopathic Association,
of the American Osteopathic Association,
that during the year
I
will carry out all of the duties of president
that I will carry out all the duties of president
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
and that I will deal justly, fairly, and impartially
and that I will deal justly, fairly, and impartially
in all matters which come before me.
in all matters that come before me.
This I solemnly pledge.
This I solemnly pledge.
Now it is my honor to present Bob with his president's ring and gavel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with pleasure, I introduce to you the 2014-15 President of the American Osteopathic Association, Robert S. Uhas, D.O.
I don't know what color osteopathy is, but whatever it is, it runs in Bob's veins.
So as you leave here today, always remember those that have contributed to your education.
He just understands people. He understands how to move people forward.
He has that osteopathic pride and principle in him.
I've seen nobody with a greater level of integrity or devotion to the osteopathic profession.
I think I decided probably when I was about 10 or 12 years old that I wanted to be a doctor. Part of it was that my mother was ill quite a bit when I was a young person. As a child, you know, if you have somebody that's ill in your family, it's sort of a natural thought to say, gee, I wish I could do something to make a difference so that, you know, I could take care of people.
You can't walk into the South Point Hospital without knowing Bob Uhas' story. It's a great story. He grew up in the area, but at 16 years old, he started there washing dishes in the kitchen. And it's just so fitting that he became the president of the hospital he started washing dishes at. Went to college just up the street at John Carroll University.
My first interview for medical school was at Ohio University College of Osteopathic Medicine, and I was a nervous wreck, and I didn't get in.
Bob did not go to our medical school. He went to Kansas City. It was their gain and our loss from that.
I first met Bob Uhas in 1978 when he had been accepted as a student at the Kansas City College of Osteopathic Medicine. He called me on the phone and he said, I would like to stay connected with Ohio.
40-some students out in Kansas City were from Ohio and were interested in coming back to Ohio.
So we strategized, planned, came up with an idea of having student chapters. Even though we were starting an Ohio college, he wanted to make sure that other Ohioans who went to out-of-state osteopathic colleges were connected as well. Bob Uhas had vision when he was a student. He had vision when he was the OA president, and I know he will be an outstanding leader at the American Osteopathic Association.
While he's an osteopathic physician, I would have to say it really is who he is with his family, with everybody. He's very humble. You would never know all the things he does. When you hear them and listen to him, you think, wow, that's amazing. He's a great guy. Devoted his life to helping other people.
We've been married 22 years. It was a second marriage for us, and so we had blended families. She's a saint. She went from having one child to having 4 children overnight. She's been my companion on the journey.
Bob cares about his family, and he cares about the profession like he cares about a family. We are truly his professional family.
I always remembered Bob as being very calm. He's a wonderful listener, which is a skill that most of us don't have.
He actively listens, and he makes sure that he addresses your needs.
When he worked in a hospital, when he was the internist in a hospital, and he would see our patients, the patients would love him. He just had that demeanor about him that was not very high, not very low, but very calming effect that I think is very important in patient care. He laid the groundwork, I think, for a lot of the positive things coming out of the Cleveland Clinic today.
Clearly, the Cleveland Clinic is a place where Bob has shined. He's been an incredible example of what an osteopathic physician should be.
Bob came on board at our regional program in 1998 and expanded that to the point of becoming the medical director at our Willoughby Hills, Ohio Family Health Center. A few years ago, when President Bush was pushing hard for the adoption of electronic health records across the industry, he came to Cleveland and wanted to work with us because we started electronic health records in the 1990s.
Bob was part of that panel with the president talking about these changes.
With the challenges of health records, he was able to explain it, show the potential, show the excitement.
We have a responsibility to affect the way that policy occurs in medicine.
One of the things I most deeply appreciate about Bob is his deep devotion to the profession, to include mentoring at all levels.
I like to tell people that he was the first student that I ever mentored, but I think he's been more of a mentor to me than I ever was to him.
He has really encouraged me to become a leader.
So I vividly remember a moment where we were at DO Day on the Hill, standing in the lobby of the hotel that it was hosted at, where Bob encouraged me to apply to be the Dean of Ohio University Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine. Probably one of the most critical conversations I've had in my life. And I am so thankful for Bob's encouragement.
I've always been an advocate for osteopathic medical education. Always told students, whatever environment they were in, to grow where they were planted.
I will tell you today that we're celebrating the fact that you have grown here and you'll continue to grow wherever you go as you receive your DO degree.
When we came up with the plan with the Heritage College for the new osteopathic campus, there was only one name that came up. It was Bob.
He's really played a key role in helping to facilitate the connection between Cleveland Clinic and Ohio University.
So I'm not surprised that he's ascended to the level of president-elect and now president of the American Osteopathic Association. Probably a little bit overdue, in my humble opinion, because he is an Ohio boy, Midwest values.
Well, change is here, and it's touching almost every function that we have as physicians. And as the president of the AOA, to a large extent, he is going to have to be our face as part of this change that's going on in healthcare.
I can't think of a person that's going to be better suited to be walking us through this single accreditation system, than somebody who knows our own educational system, inside and out.
I think if I could give Bob any advice, it would be to lean on the people that have been supporting him for years, and that he has more support than he possibly can imagine. We'll help you, Bob.
Congratulations to Bob Uhas, DO, on becoming the 118th president of the American Osteopathic Association.
Congratulations, Papa! Yay!
This has been just an incredible day. So first of all, I want you to give all of yourselves another hand. I got to tell you, I'm just incredibly proud to and really humbled to be your AOA president at these historic times. I want to thank Bill Burke for his great job as a Master of Ceremonies. And I want to thank Father Fred Pauschy, my pastor. Fred has been with us. He's part of our family, and he's married our children and certainly been there when we've had loss. And we love you, Fred. Thank you for being with us. I wouldn't have made it here without some amazing support from so many people, but particularly my family. And you had the chance to get a chance to be introduced to my children and their spouses and significant others, and you got a glimpse of some of my grandchildren in the video, my future DOs. What you might not know is we did have a new addition last Thursday, and her name is Eleanor Anna Udath, and she's my 4th grandchild, and she is sweet. I just want to let each of them know what a difference they've made in my life and how proud I am of them at this moment, and just what a blessing they've been to both Don and I, so thank you. Now I'd like to ask the love of my life, my wife Donna, to please join me on the stage for a few moments. Donna's been my confidant, and she's been my companion on the journey, really on the journey of life. And so she's been either Mrs. Donna or Mom to all of our crew since 1992 when we blended our families. So, honey, I just want to thank you for everything you do for all of us, and certainly the blessing you are to everybody you come in contact with. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. Thank you. I want to tell you about a book that I've been reading that really has resonated with me, particularly as a DO. In Start With Why, Simon Sinek makes the point that every company, every organization, and I would say each of us, must ask the question of ourselves, what is your why? In other words, why do you exist? What gives you purpose and passion? What makes you get up and get excited every morning and to get going? As healthcare continues to evolve in this country, now more than ever, we have to ask ourselves this simple and yet a very important question: what is our why? In the charter of the American School of Osteopathy, back in 1892, Andrew Taylor Still stated our purpose. He said, "The object of this corporation is to establish a college of osteopathy, the design of which is to improve our present system of surgery, obstetrics, and the treatment of diseases generally, and place the same on a more rational and scientific basis." You see, our why has always been to improve care for the people that we have the privilege to serve. Why? It's such an important question for us as a profession and for each of us as individuals, as DOs. Why did you become a DO? For me, as you saw in the video, my time at Brentwood Hospital played a pivotal role in my decision. I saw how the DOs treated their patients, and I saw how all of the staff really treated each other as family. It's really here where I learned about diversity, working together with a team of people of different colors, creeds, and backgrounds for one great purpose: to take great care of patients. Last September, when I returned to what was Brentwood Hospital and is now, and as president of what is now South Point Hospital, I can tell you that our caregivers still live out their why every day. In coming back where my osteopathic journey started. I have refound my why. It's really to educate great osteopathic students and residents, to take great care of patients with a great group of caregivers, and to improve the health of the communities that we serve. So in rediscovering my why, it got me thinking about those who influenced my decision to enter the profession and who continue to impact me today. Steve and Elizabeth Uhas married at age 38, and they had me and my brother when they were 40 and 44. Now that is a feat into itself, especially in their day. My dad came from a beautiful village named Esztergom, and it was on the Danube River in Hungary. All of the kings of that country had been crowned in the basilica that's high on a hill there. He built bridges as a Hungarian soldier before World War II, and then he became a police officer. He left Hungary on Christmas Eve 1944, when the Nazis had occupied the village where his family had lived. Knowing that the Russians would invade overnight, he knew that he had to make a choice, either to stay with his family and be locked behind what would become the Iron Curtain, or to leave and seek a new opportunity in a new land. He met his family in the wine cellars of the basilica, and his mother and father, it really encouraged him to go. He bid them and his two younger brothers, his younger brother and two sisters, farewell, and really never to see them again, most of them again. He was 31 years of age at that time. He set out on a journey to come to the United States, which would keep him waiting in Czechoslovakian and German Red Cross camps for 7 years, until he could get his chance to come to the United States. He had his chances to go to Australia and South America, but he chose to wait to come to the USA. He loved this country. He instilled in my brother and me what it meant to be an American citizen, to work hard, to be the best that you can be, to take care of your family and your neighbors, and to never forget where your strength comes from. I want to thank you, Dad, for giving me the gifts of perseverance and resilience. My mother was a wonderful woman, and she had a big, kind heart. She had a fervent faith that she shared with my brother and me. Having been the second oldest of 8 brothers and a sister, she helped raise her siblings, while my grandfather worked in a gunpowder factory, and my grandmother tended to their small family farm. My mother taught me about the love of our Lord, about faith, and how to pray, which has been such a tremendous gift throughout the years. She was also a selfless servant leader who taught me to listen and to be patient, which has been invaluable in my relationship with my wife and my family, in caring for patients, as well as being able to care for and lead others. I want to thank you, Mom, for the gifts of patience, listening, and faith. My professional mentors influenced my decision to enter our profession. I became a DO because of people like my chief, Bob DeRue, DO, a cardiologist. Bob, like many of our specialists in those days, went out and did general practice for a couple years, paid off some of his debt, and then went back and did a fellowship and became a cardiologist. And Bob taught me to take care of people, not problems. He taught me that all of us will be patients sooner or later, and that we must learn something every day. Once we stop learning, we stop. Many of my mentors taught me that we could improve healthcare for every one of our patients if we did this simple thing: treat them the way that we would want ourselves or our families to be treated. I am so grateful for people like Marcy Oliva and John Stroh-Snyder, who saw the promise in a scrappy first-generation kid and pushed him forward. Their encouragement has made a huge difference to me. And I've had so many mentors in this room that they're too numerous to name, but I thank you all now. Today I want you to think about the people who helped you answer your why and recognize them as the unsung heroes, the guardians, or the champions of the profession. I want to thank you, Norm, for establishing such a great program, a worthy program, and for your leadership this past year. Last year you set a goal for 2,000, and you set a goal for us, John Becker and I, for 4,000 this year, and we're going to work to get it done. So thank you so much, and thank you. You know, when you hang out with Norm, you learn many things. One is, you're going to eat some great food. You better bring an appetite. And Anthony Bourdain has nothing on you, my friend. Number two is, when you're a surfer, sometimes you gotta paddle hard to catch a wave, and then sometimes you get the pleasure of riding it out. And I just want to thank you for paddling really hard this year. So we've been talking about our why, the personal purpose that drives each one of us. But to have an even greater impact as a profession, we need to work together to answer 4 significant questions. Who are we? How do we teach? What do we do? And what difference does it make? The evolving healthcare environment is seeking solutions. As the osteopathic medical profession, we can provide those solutions. So who are we? We are DOs. We use the skill of touch to diagnose and to treat according to the tenets set forth by Andrew Taylor Still. We get to know our patients as people, and we care for the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. We know that the body has an amazing ability to heal and regulate itself, given the proper nutrition and exercise. And we understand that structure presupposes function. The way that I interpret that is, if you really want to get things to where they need to go, you have to make sure that there's nothing in the way. And when we plan a treatment for our patients, it incorporates all of our unique tools into that plan of treatment. How do we teach? We train in many settings, from solo practices to some of the most prestigious academic medical centers in the world. We train in teaching health centers and community hospitals. We train alongside our MD colleagues across the country, whether it's in a solo practice, in an underserved community, or in a military hospital in Afghanistan. Much of the teaching we do is in small groups. We're using one-on-one preceptor-based training. We train our residents to become our future faculty, to perpetuate the education and the philosophy and the practice and the science of osteopathic medicine. And we have a dedication to lifelong learning. When I met with students last year at OMED, several of them said they didn't see DOs practicing osteopathically, and that they felt that some of us may have broken our osteopathic promise, and that has stuck with me since that day. Some of you might have heard me say, you cannot not teach. In other words, whatever you're doing, good or bad, somebody's watching you, and you're always a mentor, whether you know it or not. Many of the students who matriculate to our osteopathic medical schools were accepted at osteopathic and allopathic medical schools, or they just chose to come to our schools. And they did that because they believe that we care for our patients in a different way. They were inspired by our why. We need to keep our promises to these students and our patients and demonstrate the type of care we provide in all of our work. So what do? Last December, in a study published in the JAOA, researchers found that while empathy declined among third and fourth year allopathic and osteopathic medical students, it was less so in our osteopathic medical students. When comparing those two groups of students, the one statistically different variable was touch. Why? Well, most likely it's because in our first week of school, we go in and examine each other as students, and we learn appropriate touch. We learn about osteopathic manipulative diagnosis and treatment. We develop this skill, which relies on our hands to both diagnose and to treat, and we become very comfortable with it. Could this make a difference in how we take care of patients for the rest of our practice lives? Whether or not we incorporate OMM or not? I would think it does. Could it be unique about how we continue to care for our patients? We need to know. So what difference do we make? Well, we do have something special to offer, and I would submit that we not only have the privilege, but we have the responsibility to offer the kind of care that we know can help people. We know patients can benefit from our care, and now we must prove it. We have to show that it's unique, that it makes a difference, and it's cost effective. We can do this through research, which is a key pillar of our strategic plan. Today, I'm challenging the colleges of osteopathic medicine, the state and specialty societies, our research institutes, and all of you to work together as we develop the infrastructure to improve our research efforts and our publications. If I had to describe our research environment right now, I'd say it's much like resuscitating a patient. When it comes to publishing major collaborative osteopathic research, it's sort of like running a code. We run in, and there's no pulse. We begin CPR. We hook up the AED, and then we defibrillate. Thump. Every once in a while, we have a major work published. Might be the low back pain study, the otitis media study, the MOPSI study, the empathy study. We get a zap of energy. We see QRS complexes going across the screen and we say, hot damn. But then we go flatline again for a while, right? And then we wait to do it all over again. So we wait until the next big study is published. So I'm here to tell you today, we need a pulse. To jumpstart our efforts, I'm appointing a task force with internal and external collaborative partners to develop strategies to fund and implement a research network infrastructure and grantsmanship that sets the stage for a steady stream of research. Through this collaboration, we will work towards the goal of publishing scholarly osteopathic research in the JAOA and other major journals at least every month. I've often said the best awareness campaign that we can have is through well-published research. Our communications team at the AOA will then have a pipeline of articles that will bring greater understanding and awareness around the world about DOs and osteopathic medicine, about the 4 vital questions we've been talking about today, and give them the tools that they need to create the awareness you have been asking for. Another significant part of our strategic plan. The answers to those questions will not only help others have a better understanding of our profession, but will also help our osteopathic family see that we continue to be relevant, especially to our growing number of younger DOs. I'd just like to take a minute to address this segment of our members, our younger DOs, for a moment. This meeting, our organization, and much of what we do is for you. We're all about strengthening the profession by creating opportunities for you and training you to be our future leaders. We're about creating the right partnerships, the right pathways that expand our ability to influence the practice of medicine and health policy. The single GME accreditation system is one strategy to do that, but so is increasing OGME, investing in research, strengthening our health policy efforts, and optimizing our management and governance structure in such a way that we can reinvest any savings in improved services to you. We'll continue to strengthen those services that provide you value and are relevant to your needs in what is a rapidly changing healthcare environment. And we'll help you to find joy in the work that you do, which is so important today. We want you to be proud to be a member of this AOA. We're also working to collaborate with our state and specialty affiliates and to partner with and promote innovative programs like the ACOI's Phoenix Physician and Leadership Training programs. While there's been a debate here surrounding this agreement for the single GME accreditation system, a primary goal has really been to preserve access for DOs in all residency and training programs. By doing so, we have the responsibility to develop osteopathically focused ACGME programs for DO residents in all specialties in which we train. As we move forward with this single accreditation system, we will now have our osteopathic standards, including NMM and OMM, codified in the largest GME accreditation system in the world. We will be part of the governance of this new system, with DOs serving to bring our influence and to improve graduate medical education at all levels. We'll continue to advocate for our excellent AOA certified DO educators to serve as faculty and program directors. in all ACGME programs if they meet the standards on a level playing field. As I said when I represented the profession at the ACGME board last month, I think it was a month ago today, I would hold up our AOA certified faculty as some of the best medical educators in the world, and I'd do it today. We said early on, when we agreed to move forward with an agreement with ACOM and ACGME, that this was the end of the beginning. And now, we are moving forward united. We're united in the opportunities to share our why with all medical educators and the public in all GME programs. These are exciting times for us as a profession. It's an honor to serve as your president. I'm extremely proud to be a part of this profession, part of this association, which will continue to be the professional home for all physicians who practice osteopathically. Now we know we can't cling to the past while we're trying to work on creating the future. We have two choices. One, we can just talk about seizing our opportunities that change has brought us. And we can let ourselves be carried along into obscurity as a quaint, anachronistic system of care. Or we can embrace the changes and realize the dream of Andrew Taylor Still to make good on a vision of the old doctor and be the original health system reform he envisioned more than 140 years ago. The choice is clear. We must now seize the opportunity before us. We must study our educational models, our philosophy, our practice, and further the science of osteopathic medicine. We must demonstrate the difference our practice makes so that we will have the tools to share our message with our medical colleagues, policymakers, and all who seek better care of patients through our healing influence. We must embrace our responsibility to let all of medicine and the world know who we are, how we teach, what we do, and what difference it makes for those patients that we're privileged to take care of. When we articulate our answers, there is no doubt that every person would want the care provided by an osteopathic physician. Now, I ask for your help and for your commitment to take the vision of a pioneer doctor and the work of so many who have nurtured and sustained the osteopathic profession he founded and share it far and wide. I know we're up to the task, that we will embrace our responsibility. I know, the AOA trustees know, that this is our finest hour. A 100 years from now, when the 218th president of the American Osteopathic Association gives this address, he or she will be able to speak about this moment in their history, about when we met the challenges before us, about how we seized the opportunities before us, and how we improved the care of patients throughout the world. By improving all medical care through our leadership and the contributions of the unique education, philosophy, practice, and science of osteopathic medicine. This is our why. I ask you now to join me as we move confidently forward together, firmly rooted in our heritage, our why, going forward boldly to reach for the stars, to improve all medical care through the shining light of osteopathic medicine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you all for coming. And just a reminder to join us later this evening, of course, celebrate this great occasion. We're going to be at the President's reception about 6:30 tonight in the International Ballroom. One more piece of business is COSGP. They've got that silent auction going on until 6 o'clock tonight. They just wanted a quick announcement on that. Dr. Uhas, thank you for your future and upcoming leadership. And Norm, thank you for your previous leadership. Thank you all for coming, and you are dismissed.
You want to remind me about something?